She is dedicated to supporting seniors and understands the concerns and challenges that come with caring for loved ones with dementia and other neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson's. She draws from her own experiences caring for her family members with cognitive impairments, and since 2015, she's been guiding families through the intricate landscape of senior living. She'll be sharing with us the landscape of what distinguishes a skilled nursing facility from an assisted living facility, how an assisted living facility differs from a residential care home, what are the costs, what are the benefits, and how does insurance factor into all of this. Jet has years of experience as a professional care partner for seniors. She's a healthcare professional, a spiritual director, and engagement coordinator for an Alzheimer's Day program. She can also recommend activities that foster connection and engagement, utilizing music, art, storytelling, exercise, and meditation. And on a personal note, Jet was invaluable in helping me find the right placement for my wife when she needed it and we couldn't be at home any longer. And the second part of that story is I had used a service like hers. I had chosen a place, in no small part because it was beautiful, and it was the wrong place. And Jet helped me find the right place. And with that, I give you Jet Howell.
Thank you. Good morning or good afternoon, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. I'm going to try and make this as educational and fun as possible. So I'm the founder of Jet Senior Living Solutions, and I started out because of a family member, and I spent the last couple of years taking care of a family member with Parkinson's with dementia. And I've spent the last 10 years working with seniors in senior living, as well as helping with Medicare insurance, as well as here's some of my certifications. And right now, I help people find senior living, as well as I'm a site coordinator for our Alzheimer's Day program. And we have quite a few people that have Parkinson's that come, and it's respite for the family members. And then we give them 4 to 6 hours of fun, and which I'll show you some. Even brought my dollar store noodles. So I'll show you some fun stuff with at the end of the presentation. So, but yeah, so it is my passion and life goal, I guess, to help better the world and how to help people, help seniors in these situations, and help family members. And I really use my heart in helping find the right place, and I really spend the time. So here's some information. So it started also with quite a few years ago with my stepdad had a heart attack, so I got the call, go to the hospital, and then they bring in a mountain of paperwork. The nurse walks in, and it's a stack of paperwork. This, and then they tell you that he's lost mobility, he can't stay home anymore, and that we need to find a senior living place. And they only give you a couple days sometimes. And yeah, so even though I'd already been working with seniors in senior living, I wasn't aware of the entire process and how complex it can be, and just how important it is to find the right first time home. So we are the solution to that problem, and we give personalized service, meaning we're also experts. So I've worked in the industry the last 10 years. I've worked at friend's house, I've worked at Muir Woods, I've worked at Phillipsburg Senior Living. I also have a license for Medicare, for health insurance. I'm licensed with Social Services of California for the residential care facilities administrator. So I know everyone in the industry. You have a question?
Well, my question is, what is it that would make a person that has Parkinson's, not dementia though?
Yeah.
What would force that person to go even into assisted living?
Well, loss of mobility.
So they can't walk, they can't,
Well, just anyone that they're not safe to be at home anymore. So,
however they define themselves.
yeah, so that can be the care situation, they're not eating, can be memory loss, which can accompany, because I have one family member that had Parkinson's and dementia, together. And the final stages, anyways, is a point where they can't be home alone.
Physical barriers too.
I'm sorry?
Physical barriers.
Yeah, so physical barriers, also they need, isolation and being, and loneliness is an issue too, because that can decline your health. So finding the right environment with the right caregivers, having that, that loving environment, activities, all of these things. So we give personalized tours, and so the difference between, like if you go to an online company, like a Place for Mom, which they flood the internet. They're like the largest advertiser on the internet. And they design their site, so even if you know of a place that you want to go, which is like Brookdale or Arbel, they develop their site so that when you put in, you want to go to Arbel, Santa Rosa, they pop up and then you put your information in. But their service is basically a telemarketer, and then they give all your information to all of the places that they contract with. So you're gonna get all the phone calls and basically set up your own tours. So what we do is we do it for you, and we do an assessment, but we can save you time, money, and also heartache, because it's very difficult to move a second time. It's also very expensive and time consuming. So I stay up to date with all the state licenses, also even just the salespeople that are moving around. I can text them and tell them, and set up the tours, and we can go on the tours. I have the insider information and education, and let's see, just the personalized support. So I'll actually meet with you and your loved one and determine what, the care needs are. I determine what your wish list is, what your pet peeves are, and then we go through the process of discussing, and then we tour these places, and I attend with you in person. I walk you by the hand through. I help you get the paperwork, because you have to complete forms from the doctor, from the 602. So here's an example of, this is a abbreviated example of our process. So the first thing, you would call me, and then we would set up a time to meet, and hopefully I could meet your loved one, and then we'll learn all of those things again, which is, what's important to you, what the budget is, all of that. Then I set up the tours for you, and I meet you there. So instead of you having to set up the tours with other companies, we'll do it for you. And then I help you through the whole process. I can even help you find a mover, I can help you find a realtor, help you find someone to declutter. So I have all these people on speed dial and can solve any type of concern or challenge. And then we also have the after service. So now we'll get into the meat. So basically we do the assessment process, and my recommendation, don't be shy. Please be really honest. If they get up in the middle of the night or they have some challenging behaviors, tell me, because then I can know, because I know certain people won't take someone that gets up in the middle of the night versus others will. Or, if they're wandering, if they're a person that wanders, or if it's someone that forgets and keeps falling, they forget to use their walker or something like that. So I can customize with the right family members, because we can move from Well, anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. So, we provide another level of screening and accountability, so I can negotiate for you as well. I can discuss the challenging behaviors or anything, any type of needs. I can negotiate that in advance. So it's definitely let us know exactly what's important to you, what the budget is, and be honest about any challenging situations or behaviors so we can overcome that. There will be, by the state of California, if you go into any assisted living or memory care, large or small, you'll need to fill out a form, which is we lovingly call the 602. It's a physician statement. It's about 7 pages, and it has to be filled out by the doctor. So if you have Kaiser, this can a lot of times take a couple of weeks.
Kaiser lets you fill it out and they sign it.
Oh, maybe they moved that along in the process, but you know, Kaiser has its like own department, and then they have to get the doctor to sign it, and yeah, maybe they've made it a little better, but yeah, so all the forms, you know, if you have a post, if you have advanced directive, POA, all of these things, and then each community has their own paperwork that you want to fill out, and so I can help you with that. Be prepared for a range of emotions. Oh my goodness, yeah. So that's where my spiritual director training and certification comes in, and my heart, because I can help, you know, you navigate that, because it's very emotional. It can be, you know, something from a range of emotions where, you know, it's like, oh, I promised I would never, you know, this, or I feel guilty for that, or just a little bit of a loss at the change, and them moving out of their home of, you know, 50 years or something. But we have the support and the resources for that as well. And then when we're touring, I ask people to really focus on the people that are working there, the personal care, because really that's the most important thing, not the appearance, you know, that it's beautiful or that they have tablecloths for dinner, things like that. You really want to pay attention to the care, to if they're providing flexibility for individual needs, you know, Dad he reads the paper every day. Can we get the paper? He likes to take his bath, and he only likes to take a shower, and it's at 5 o'clock. And they, you know, so are they flexible? Instead of doing it in the morning, can they do it in his schedule? So you want to pay attention to those kind of things. Let's see. And are there social opportunities? Is there someone, I mean, they need at least one friend, you know, and depending if it's the smaller community or a larger community. Are they a social person? If they're social, then that would be a different place than someone who's more introverted. And so it's really about customizing, and you know, I had one lady that she was speaking English, but as her disease progressed, she started only speaking Spanish, and that's common. So if you speak 2 languages, that's good to know. I want the community and the caregivers to communicate with her in Spanish. So I found a place for her that the caregivers spoke Spanish. So there's a lot of individual factors in finding the right place. And it's something that, you know, we would work closely on. But yeah, talk to the staff. If you can, I a lot of times take my clients to lunch at the place, or we go to a happy hour or an activity, you know, so that they can see it. Would I fit in here? Is there someone that I could be friends with? You know, is there someone that I could engage with? And then you can also talk to other family members of the residents and see how they like it and what their, if they've had any challenges. So, and then, you know, we're really your liaison, you know. It's like a realtor for senior living, because it is free to you. So all of the time is free to you, and then if and when you move in, then we would get a referral fee. So we're working to find the right place. We want you to have the right place where your loved one can thrive, and that you can have peace of mind. It's so important. And please know you're still the caregiver, and you're still in charge. You're just allowing other people to be your hands and feet, so that you can get a little bit of respite and be able to have a little more balance. So, but yeah, we have all these resources to help you with those transitions. And here we come to the questions. So, these are some of the common questions, and at the end, if you like, I'll be happy to answer any others, because sometimes questions create questions, right? So what's the difference between a board and care and an assisted living facility? So a board and care is licensed by the state of California. It's called a residential care home, and usually there are like 6 beds, and a lot of families actually have them. I have a lot of Vietnamese families and Filipino families. That's part of their culture to be nurses. So the board and cares, the ones that I prefer are ones that have a doctor or a nurse on staff. The board and cares are smaller, so that would be for someone that's, the care is, we say 2 to 6. Okay, so there's 2 caregivers for 6 people. So the level of care is higher in the smaller board and cares. However, they don't have the activities and all the amenities, so they won't have transportation. They don't have an activities director. And so they're not as a social environment, not as active environment. And then the larger communities are anything from, 40, which is Muir Woods, they have 40 people, up into 350, which are some of the Brookdales. And those can be anywhere from, more intimate to like a cruise ship. And some of the communities, what we call a continuing care retirement community. It's a CCRC, if you've heard of that word. And it means that they have all levels of care. And some of them, like I worked at a friend's house, we were CCRC. So essentially, in the CCRCs, you have to pay an entry fee, and a lot of times it's a lot. So when I was at a friend's house, it was like $170,000.
It's
but
much higher now.
Yeah, it's higher now. It was quite a few years ago, but but the advantage is that you move in independent living, then you go to assisted living, then you can go to skilled nursing. So effectively that's your home, and you're going to live there for the rest of your life. And it is advisable to, in friend's house, and their philosophy is to move in before you have a lot of issues, so that you can make friends, you can be social, you can be, part of the community. And then, as you age, so do the people that are your friends, and you do it all together. So it's a really nice model, but it is a lot more expensive. The boarding cares and the larger communities, those are month to month. So if you don't like it, you just give 30 days notice. And you have a rent, and then you have care charges on top of that, depending on your needs. So that's a difference. The board and cares are 6, and the larger communities can be up to 300. So, and it's also the amenities and the care is the difference. What's the difference between an assisted living facility and a skilled nursing? Skilled nursing is basically for rehab. It's usually a short-term stay. It's like an extension of the hospital, and many people use them after surgeries or illnesses. And again, you know what the assisted living is, which is more independent than a skilled nursing. So generally, someone would go to a skilled nursing for a short-term stay in between going home or going to a community or a board and care. Okay, what are the services provided by assisted living? So assisted living, they have more amenities than a 6-bed board and care. So they will have medication management, so your medication is delivered to you every day. You don't even have, they bring it to you in your room. They have house cleaning, they have 3 meals and snacks a day. They have all kinds of activities and excursions. They have transportation, and they also do the upkeep. So, if you're still doing the lawn, you don't have to do that anymore. You don't have to do the cooking. You don't have to do the cleaning. And, you just have your friends, and you go to happy hour, and you go to exercise, and you go to trivia, and so it can be a really nice lifestyle. So, what are the pre-admission requirements? So again, the dreaded 602, you gotta have that filled out by your doctor. And then you'll have to have a valid TB test within the last 6 months. The nurse looks, and you give the 602 to the nurse before you move in, and then she or he will take a look at it. They'll set up an appointment with you, and they'll come out and they'll, in person assess your family member. And so that is A, so that they can determine that they can meet your needs and to learn your needs and know your needs. And then B, that's to create a care plan. Because every care plan is individualized for the person. And it should be updated, the care plan should be updated every year, sometimes 6 months, and definitely after if there's any new developments. And then, the next one is what's the cost of assisted living? So assisted living and memory care, I'll talk about them separately. Assisted living, you're gonna have your rent, and then if you need any care, and with your care plan, they would tell you the additional fee for that. There are a few places that have it all in one fee. But in general, it's the care fees are separate. How am I compensated? It's just like a realtor. So when and if someone moves in, then I would get a referral fee. So I am paid by the community or the board and care. So, one more. How do I pay for assisted living? So assisted living is mostly private pay. So many families they'll rent out the house, they'll sell the house, they'll use their savings. Many if you have long-term health care, keep it, because it helps pay for it. I know it's a little bit expensive, but it really, really helps. So they can pay anything from, a couple $100 a day for the care needs of your family members. So they will help pay. But yes.
Make sure you mention that if you have Parkinson's, you have a pre-existing condition. Therefore, you're not going to be eligible for any insurance.
Oh, for long term?
No, of course not. You can't buy any insurance.
Okay.
Long-term care insurance.
Well, some people get it in advance. It's fewer and far between that people have LTC.
Are not eligible simply because they already have Parkinson's.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
I think, it's kind of on an individual basis. I do have people that, have insurance,
As long as you
long-term.
purchase it before you have the condition.
Yeah.
And I think there's some law, there's some federal law that Hillary Clinton wrote or somebody about, you can't discriminate against people that have pre-existing conditions too. I don't know.
Let's talk about that offline. I think that was something that Obama created, but who
I just
knows?
wanted to put it out there because.
Yeah, you want to get it beforehand if you can. I mean,
It's too late for everybody to this room. If you didn't purchase it already, it's too late. Long-term care, yeah.
Okay.
Unless you have $1 million to pay for the policy.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, it is individual though, so some people with their companies, they can get it without a pre-existing condition, so, yes. Brenda?
Curious if some of these things will change with, the new administration, with Kennedy coming in, possibly.
Possibly, I don't know. We don't know, that remains to be seen, right? So, yeah, and I don't wanna go there. I don't have a magic wand. Does Medicare and Medi-Cal cover the cost? Okay, so Medicare covers skilled nursing, right? Medi-Cal, there is something called an assisted living waiver. And the assisted living waiver, they experimented with it last year, and people with Medi-Cal could apply, and then they would help pay for assisted living and memory care. The state of California, we ran out of money by the time it got to Sacramento, so we haven't really seen a lot of it up here. So they're working on that. We have facilities that are now licensed to take Medicare, but the process on getting the assisted living waiver can be a little challenge. So you can do it and get on the list, but they're trying to work on that. So hopefully they'll get better with that, but it's more of a state thing because it's so expensive. And is there financial assistance from the Veterans Administration? So the VA, yes, they do. They help pay for assisted living and memory care. And it's if you worked in the service during a wartime period, they actually have something called aided attendance, and it can be an additional $2,000. And if it's a couple, it can be up to $3,000 that you receive for that. So
Per month.
Yeah, per month. Thank you. Yeah. So that's per month. So that can really help. So if you were in, any of the wars, or even not in the war, but in the service during one of the wars, then you can apply for that, and you can apply through the Veterans Administration. Or you can actually hire a company. It's called Patriot Angels, and I've had quite a few customers do that, or clients do that. And I think it was $750, but they do the research, the paperwork, and it helps expedite. So that's also something to consider. It's nice to have an extra $2,000 or $3,000 a month. So, any other questions?
Well, I don't know if I missed it. Did you cover the cost of memory care?
Oh, no, I didn't. I'm sorry, I missed that one. So memory care, at any of the larger communities is going to be $6,500 or more. It's a higher level of care. And then also, a boarding care, the cheapest or the least expensive boarding care that I could find for someone, all inclusive, was $5,000 a month. So, yeah, so it's,
I have a mic, so.
oh, okay.
And of the people that choose to stay in their home
Mhm.
throughout their condition,
Yeah.
is there a population of caregivers that come in and out of the home and can help? And even if they need 24-hour care, I think there might be Filipino companies.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them. The
Yeah.
Fijian companies are really good.
Yeah.
We use those.
Yeah. And why do people make that choice between staying in their own home or
Mhm.
going to a boarding care or a memory care? I mean, and forget about,
Yeah.
I'll shut up.
Yeah, so usually it's monetary. If you have 24/7 care and you're paying someone, if you're using the agencies are anywhere from, most of them are like over $40 an hour now, with all the increases and the gas increase and all of that. So you can get private people, and you can get them on caring.com, or caring.com, one of them. And, but you don't know if they have the licensing, you don't know if they have the training, and you don't know if they have, TB tests and background checks, things like that. So that's the advantage of going with an agency. And also with an agency, if the person gets sick, they have a resource to send another person, versus if you use a private person and that person gets sick, you don't want them to come. So,
I want to say sometimes.
What do you mean sometimes?
Because they don't actually have a bench of people that are waiting for a call when somebody gets sick.
Yeah.
And I used home care throughout the pandemic time, and there were a lot of days that people didn't show up for their shifts. And as a caregiver, you're the caregiver first and last resort. And when somebody doesn't show up, whatever your plans are now different.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm home.
That's
Makes
another
some
challenge. That challenge. Plus, I know of people that when they were in their home, the caregiver came in and gave them COVID. So you do have to be careful. I'm sorry? Yeah. It's a gift that keeps giving, right?
Or a caregiver came in and borrowed a checkbook.
Oh, yeah, that sometimes happens. So, and then also you don't have the upkeep of the home. I mean, and if you have 24/7 care, and you're paying $35, $40 an hour, that adds up to $12,000 or more a month, versus you can go to an assisted living community and get full care for, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, depending on your needs. So, and the starting rate for rent in assisted living is about $3,500, and then they add care on it. So if you move in and you don't need any care, then it's just $3,500. But that includes your meals, your transportation, house cleaning, medication. Well, no, medication is different, but yeah. So you get all the meals and everything, and the transportation. So yes.
Back on the VA benefit, if you already have long-term care insurance,
Mm-hmm.
are you still eligible for the VA benefit?
I think you can have both. Yeah.
You can have both?
Yeah. I know
Okay.
you.
Yes, you do.
Hi. How are you? Yeah, I would try to get both for sure. Go for it. Yeah. So, yeah. Is there any other questions? I'd love to be of help.
Could you say anything about the pros and cons of those rare facilities that are 501(c)(3)s?
Oh,
The
yeah.
not-for-profit, I know of one in Napa, for example,
Yeah,
and maybe Friend's House used to be,
it was,
but they aren't
yes.
anymore.
When I worked there, it was, yeah. That's preferable, because they definitely put the people first. Friend's House is one of the best places I've ever worked, so I just loved it there. But they were purchased, and
Front
things
porch.
change when you have a new owner and a new manager. And that's a good advantage to use one of us as a placement person, and it's because we know when places change hands, or when a good executive director goes to a community versus a bad one goes to the community, and because all of that can affect. And if they get a new management company or a new owner, or if they've had every year the state comes in and spends 4 or 5 hours and goes through the entire community and checks to make sure that everything is up to regulations. And so then we would be alerted, I would be alerted if someone's had a lot of deficiencies, or if there was something wrong with care, or if a caregiver hit someone or something like that. Those are things that you want to know. And those are things that you can look up, and it's on the Department of Social Services. You can look up their license, and you can go in and look and see have they had any complaints? How did they do on their last annual survey? Things of that nature.
Did somebody have a question about Sonoma County? Christie? Did you have a question? Could you ask her that question, please?
Yeah. it's like 6,500 and up, cause, yeah. A lot of times there's nighttime behaviors or wandering, so,
Yeah, we were paying about $10,000.
yeah,
So, yeah, it's expensive.
yeah,
And also your point about having to change a facility if you choose wrong.
mhm,
You know, I had to pay the $10,000 to the first agency for the month after my wife was moved.
yeah.
And then I had to pay the new agency. So, you know, it was a double. So,
Yeah.
She's right the first time if you can.
Yeah, so,
We have two different neighbors with 24/7 in-home care, and they're both at about 24,000 a month.
yeah. So, and also it's, you know, I just can't stress enough about the activities, them having the socialization. I mean, isolation leads to depression, and, you know, you decline from there. So, really, we are pack animals. We're meant to be in groups and be in communities and, share and love and be kind to each other. It's just really who we are. So, I really believe that, you know, even if people are introverted, it's good for them. I'm a site coordinator for the Council on Aging's day respite program, and just even the people that are introverted, just them sitting in the environment where everybody's talking and or playing cards, and they're not saying anything, but they're feeling a part of community. And community is really important. I really believe in that, and all the research that I've looked at. There is a very interesting study that I just love to tell people about, and it's called the Nun Study, and it was the nuns of Notre Dame, and they were an excellent, group to study because they all ate the same, they did the same things, they had the same lifestyle, and they also donated their brains after they had passed on, and so they could study them. And what was really interesting is they found when they came into the nunnery, in the beginning they had to write an essay, and so they studied all the essays, and they found people that were positive and people that were not so positive. And the people that had a more positive outlook on life and had this nice lifestyle or this same lifestyle, they lived an average of 10 years longer. And also, the people, when they studied their brains, they would have the plaque for dementia, but they didn't have any of the symptoms while they were alive. So it can actually help change your brain, the positivity. So, and I do have some information on the back. I've got all kinds of resources in the back, and I'd be happy to share any of those with you, or you can call me later if you have any questions. So.
More questions?
Yeah. So again, we partner with everyone versus a lot of the online places, services. They are telemarketers. They don't know the places intimately like we do. They're national, and they also only people that partner with them will they, introduce you to or set up an appointment at. Versus I can go anywhere and I go and it's just in the industry. So I can go to the board and cares, and also all the communities. So we have more support and more locations. So, I did that one. We have good reviews, got over 42 on Google Business, and I have all kinds of Google ones or Yelp ones. And just to kind of remind us, we're an aging population in Sonoma County. 28% of us are over 60. I mean, that's huge. That's a huge growing population. So it's something to consider. You want to have a plan because there's not going to be enough communities and boarding cares to cover all of us. So you want to definitely have a plan and plan in advance. Baby boomers We're all turning 65 at a rate of 10,000 a day right now. And we spend 2 million Americans will live in senior care homes in 2030, which is just a few years away, and that's double of 2016. And we spend 92 billion on assisted living alone. So it's something to think about. So, because whether we're aging, we always have someone that's older than us. So, one of our loved ones. So, we want to be here. And then I also have, if we have time,
We do.
I want to have some fun. So, I brought along ways to engage. That's what I do for Council on Aging with the participants that have Alzheimer's, and it's amazing, and I want to show you how fun it is.
Yes, I was wondering if boarding care homes, do they do activities?
Some of them do, not very many of them. They do have maybe music come in once a week or once a month, but not to the extent of a larger community where they actually have someone paid, a paid professional to do the activities.
So people all day are watching TV?
Sometimes they watch TV, yes. You know, they're just hanging out in the living room with each other. Some people will do books or crossword puzzles or solitaire on the computer. But yeah, and they go for walks. Occasionally they'll do crafts or puzzles. Oh, they do puzzles a lot. Sometimes they'll do planting. You know, like one place planted strawberries and they got to watch them grow, which is really fun. So yeah, but in general, the boarding cares are for people that are less active. It's just a generality, but.
Can I add to your answer?
Yeah.
Having worked in a lot of facilities myself, I can tell you if you've been to one boarding care facility, you've been to one boarding care facility.
Yeah, each one's
Vary
different.
an awful lot.
Each one's different. That's why, you know, we come in handy because we know the good ones. So we know the ones too. In the boarding care, the level of care is higher. Like in a boarding care, I've seen where there was one lady at one of the boarding cares that I loved to work with, and she was over 100, and they would just sit on the couch together, and she would just hold her hand. That's very rare, you know, to see. Versus some of them, and you have to be careful because they'll suggest medications, and medications are a form of restraint in many ways, and it's so A, they won't get up at night, or B, they won't be as challenging, you know, to make it easier on the staff. So you have to watch that. I just pulled someone out of a place where they were over medicating her. I mean, the lady was even drooling, and I'm like, we gotta get her out of here now. So, yeah, and then, but they were honest with me about all the challenges. And so I told people up front, I called the boarding cares, we were switching boarding cares, and, you know, the nighttime behaviors, things like that. And some people are like, no way, nope. And you need to know that ahead of time, because if you move, you're gonna have to move again. And then I was actually able to find a couple of places that would be like, yeah, you know, and if they know that going in, then they can also charge appropriately. So that they know that they're fully staffed. Because in the boarding cares, there's usually only one person at night. They're awake staff. A lot of them live on the location, but they're an awake staff, and then during the day they have usually two, but that's 2 to 6. Versus in the larger communities, it can be anywhere from 1 to 5 to 1 to 8, 1 to 10. So that's something to consider as well.
I have a question for you. Back 3 slides, you have the cards, of various places.
Yeah.
And if you look at those, you go, all right, terraces, also there's names.
Yeah.
How do you discern a difference from one to another?
Well, it's very individual. So like with Mary, you know, you know, she needed the board and care, less activity, but, you know, I chose a place that had a doctor, and it was a doctor of urology, and that she also used the Pure Wick, so there was like no training, other people didn't know what it was, and it wasn't the
Does
fancy.
anybody know what that is?
Pure Wick?
It's
You're an
a
expert.
urological device that enabled, it's basically a suction pump, and you don't have to get up during the night to pee, which eliminates falls, and care partners waking up multiple times during the night to help. And so it's a simple placement, but it's easy to do wrong, and it's not invasive, and yes, it makes a difference when the staff knows how to do it.
Yeah, well, and they have to keep that clean too, so they have to make sure that, you know. So, but yeah, so we, you know, we just find we meet the needs. We find as best as we can the community or board and care that meets that individual's personalized needs.
Okay, so these are all larger, except for the Serenity, those are
Yeah,
all
and
larger
Bella
ones.
Vista is a small one too, but yeah, I have a whole huge list of them. There's like, I think there's like over 400 senior living communities in Sonoma County. So, it's a lot of choices.
Let's get you to the fun thing.
Yeah. So, I think I can, okay, I think I can go here. Alright, here we are, the fun stuff. No falling. Alright, so I get to have fun every day and engage people and find ways for people to create imagination and movement and new memories. So it's all about engaging people through creativity. And one of the ways I'm going to talk about is music as medicine. Yay, yes. Creative storytelling, virtual reality, trivia and stimulating games, gentle exercise. So music is medicine, and this is very important, but Dr. Bonna Darkford, anyways, he says that music is an intervention, that it serves as a bridge to help areas that are not working well, right? So it can help, singing, for example, can be a bridge to communicating better through language. And the rhythmic nature of music can also help people walk better. So I use a lot of music, and we do, so here's an example, and this is one of the games, we call it call and response, but I call it name that, I made it up. It's called name the music lyrics. So I would say to you, we're off to see the wizard. Okay. Follow the yellow. She'll be coming round.
Mountain.
I only have eyes when the saints go sitting on the dock. There you go. Don't step on my blue.
So she is.
There you go. So music is amazing, and I work with people that are moderate to advanced dementia and Parkinson's, and it's in a different place of the brain that isn't affected by the dementia. So even people that are nonverbal or have a hard time, we call it word salad, have a hard time even putting a sentence together, they remember these, and it's empowering for them. They can reach back, and they're just, I mean, and we do them fast too, so then they feel really a sense of accomplishment. Now what? Oh, here we are, okay. This is a movie, and this is shows the science. It's called Alive Inside. Just like 2 or 3 minutes. I don't know if I can make it louder.
Henry is one of the 5 million people in America with dementia.
This is his daughter. Oh, was you?
It's coming out. It's coming out here.
Okay. So this is his daughter, and he's been in a assisted living. We need a picture.
Unresponsive and almost unalive.
If you'll pay attention to what he looks like once they put the music on him. So before he was kind of like this, not really responding even to his daughter. And they put the music on him, his eyes are open.
Animated by the music.
And he used to always sit on the unit with his head like this. He didn't really talk to much people. And then when I introduced the music to him, this is his reaction ever since.
The philosopher Kant once called music the quickening art, and Henry is being quickened, he's being brought to life.
I'm going to give it back to you. Okay.
The effect of this doesn't stop, which when the headphones are taken off, Henry, normally mute and virtually unable to answer the simplest yes or no questions.
Yeah, I'm great.
Alright, so,
Is that Oliver Sacks? Yes.
yeah,
He
so,
funded a research institute that is alive and working today for music research. And you know, Awakenings, the film, Parkinson's, and Carbon. Yes, thank you.
wonderful, yeah, so it's amazing. And so for $40, you can buy an iPod, and you can go to Spotify, and you can put it on the iPod, and they can listen to their music. And it can also, if you put it on for 20, 30 minutes, that's also a respite for you. So I recommend that, or if it's on a laptop or a, iPad, you can go, and if you use Spotify or Apple Music, they actually will create, and if you go to the Alive Inside website, they'll tell you how to do it as well. So, but it's just amazing when we use music and live music. Take your family members to the symphony or whatever kind of music they love. If they want hip hop, if they want, blues, take them. Music is medicine. So this is something really fun that we do. It's called Time Slips, and I read about it in a book, and I have the book in the back. And it's Navigating the Land of Dementia or something like that. It's in the back, you can see. I brought books and resources. There's chocolate and cookies back there if you want some. And I'm a mom first. And what she discovered is that people.
Can you talk into your microphone?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I apologize. I'm not used to it. So what she discovered, this is Ann Basting, and what she discovered is that we still have these huge imaginations. So what I do is I'll show like a photo, and I'll just show you. See, like I showed them this photo. I have old magazines. I got them from one of my neighbors, and they're from like the 60s and the 70s. So I showed this picture, and then I said, forget about remembering, okay? We're gonna just make it up, and we're gonna imagine. And so this is one of the stories that they put together, and it was quite amazing. So just looking at this photo, my group, we came up with this story. So one spring day, Robert asked Shirley on a date. They went to a local park in Sonoma County. They met 1 week earlier at the local bar. They listened to Elvis hits. When Robert sang "Love Me Tender," she knew he was the one, right? So anyways, and then I'll show you the next one. The next one is I used prompts. So I had a container full of little items and weird, crazy items like spam or different things. And so this is the story that came out. We had so much fun. They were laughing and we just were like almost like teenagers. We had such a fun time on this, and it's the craziest story. And these are the underlined are the items that I brought to class. And so it's one afternoon while George was at the bank, Alexandria busted in to rob the bank. George was instantly enamored by her beauty and fearlessness. Moments later, Alexandria winked at him, and he knew he had to retrieve the big bling ring, which was one of the things in the container, from the safety deposit box. Alexandria zoomed in her Porsche 911, because I had a Porsche 911 car, and to take him hostage. They raced down the coast to Monterey Bay, where they roasted local bugs, because there was like this big ladybug because George is an entomologist, and there was an owl in there, so when the owl flew by the moon, George proposed. And there was also a little thing for Mr. Incredible from like my kids' rooms, you know. And so, yes, babe, you're my Mr. Incredible. So, but you know, we get silly, and it's so much fun. So we also have these, and these you can get a cheaper item, but we have them there. And there's a myriad of things you can do if you purchase one of these. They're pricey. They're $600. But the service, they have live trivia. But what this is virtual reality. So as you move your head around, it's 360 degrees, and you're immersed in traveling, you know, driving a car at Daytona, a balloon ride. So you can kind of escape for a while. And we have 4 of these headsets, and we have particular people that's all they want to do.
You sit down when you do this, because you have balance.
Yeah. You definitely have to sit down when you do it. So this is another creative idea. And then this book, I use this book all the time, so I recommend you all get this book. I have listed in resources in the back. You can take some. Hopefully I have enough. But here's an example. What famous singer is known as the king of rock and roll? You got it. What musical instrument has 88 keys? There you go. All right, so there's also websites, and some of the websites are only like $15 a month. So you can do your own activities. So if you go to activityconnection.com or Engage Senior or Memory Lane Therapy, they'll tell you how that it's an amazing resource. They have the trivia, they have the puzzles, they have, you know, any holiday, they have all this information and all kinds of resources and things that you can do. They even have slideshows. They have, I mean, you can have so much fun with it. But this book is fun, so I recommend everybody get one.
Hey, Jet, it's time for us to break into groups.
Okay. All right, the games, and then, can I show one thing?
1 minute.
Can I?
Just put it down.
Okay. All right. So one of the things that we do that is so fun is, and this, we do a lot of stuff from the dollar store. So this is a noodle cut in half and a balloon. So this costs, you know, $1.25 twice, right? And for exercise, oh wait, here, I'll do this. What we do is we sit in a circle, and we have like, you know, 9 people or something, and we whack this back and forth, right? And it's so fun. People laugh, And if you get hit by it, it doesn't hurt. So anyways, there's a ton of things that you can do, especially from the dollar store. They have trivia, crossword puzzles, all that stuff. So I recommend that, hopefully I've inspired you to have more fun. So thank you.